Potential. Okay. Good morning, Ms. Woodward. Good morning, sir. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir.
Okay, Your Honor. On April 17th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, the law enforcement officer made contact with the complaining witness who stated that she had a green light and the defendant's vehicle struck her on the driver's side. The complaining witness was transported to the hospital. A wheel witness stated that he saw the defendant driving at approximately 90 miles per hour and run the red light and hit the complaining witness's vehicle. The wheel witness followed the defendant, and the defendant stopped a few hundred yards away from the scene. The wheel witness stated that he believed the defendant was attempting to flee, but only stopped due to mechanical issues with his vehicle.
This is a huge moment right here. Speed, a red light collision, a hospitalized victim, and then an allegation that the driver tried to flee. That combination is exactly what judges look at when deciding whether probable cause is rockalid. And notice this, refusing sobriety tests and refusing a specimen doesn't stop the case. It often strengthens the state's argument. Quick question for you watching. If you were on this jury, would the witness testimony alone convince you?
The law enforcement officer came into contact with the defendant and noticed slurred speech, an odor of alcoholic beverage, red, bloodshot eyes, disorientation, and inability to follow instructions. The defendant admitted to driving. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 6 out of 6 was recorded on the HGN, and the defendant refused the walk and turn and one-leg stand. The defendant also refused to provide a specimen. A blood warrant was obtained and a blood draw was executed.
Judge, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. Do you understand? Can you look to see any prior DWIs and if he has a license, please?
No prior DWIs and no license is eligible, Your Honor.
Okay. As long as you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance, you may continue to drive. But like I said, don't consume alcohol. Don't use illegal drugs. You will be randomly tested. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with her and she'll tell you if and when you have to come back. For now, we'll have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. You'll get with pre-trial for your bond conditions and then you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey, I don't have the bond conditions for the third driver, Thomas. Did you file conditions on Thomas as well?
I did, Your Honor.
You didn't? Okay. Maybe we just don't have it yet. The second offense, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. On April 17th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer observed a motor vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. He observed the vehicle brake hard to slow down. The officer then got behind the vehicle and observed it to have an expired registration as of January 2025. A traffic stop was conducted and the defendant was identified by his Texas ID card. The officer approached the motor vehicle and observed the defendant in the driver's seat and the defendant to have glossy eyes, slurred speech, and an odor of alcoholic beverage. The defendant admitted to the officer that he had 5 to 6 beers prior to driving. The defendant stated he has a leg injury on his right leg. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 4 out of 6 on the HGN, a 4 out of 8 on the walk and turn, a 1 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The defendant stated that despite his leg injury, he does work out and have an active life. The defendant stated he was a 5 out of 10 level of intoxication on a scale from 1 to 10. The DIC was read and the breath test strip was refused. A blood warrant was issued and the blood draw was executed.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, can you run his license, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now, as a condition of your bond, not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you.
Yes, sir.
If I find that you're using, I will put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you
Yes, sir.
understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm now placing a restriction on your license. You are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have one, I will put you in jail.
Yes, sir.
We are sending notice to DPS so that every single officer in this state knows that you're required to have an interlock in your car. So if you're caught wherever and you don't have one, officers will put you in jail.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you understand?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, can I speak?
Don't.
No, good. I got.
Don't. I don't want you to say a thing. Now's not the time. You have the right to remain silent, exercise that right. Just don't say anything. Don't. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, Mr. Martinez?
Not a phone.
Deputy Miranda's going to give you an application. We'll take a look to see whether you qualify. I need to know everything about you, where you work, how much money you're making, how much money you have at the bank, what kind of car you drive, how many cars, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, everything. And then I'll take a look to see whether you qualify.
Judge, we have that the license is not eligible.
You are not.
This right here is courtroom reality. This judge is not joking. Multiple prior cases, no license, and repeated violations turn patients into zero tolerance fast. When a judge says nothing can justify driving, that's not drama. It's a final warning. Miss this condition, and you're not negotiating bond anymore. You're negotiating jail time. Be honest. Do warnings like this actually stop repeat offenders, or is it already too late?
Drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, Mr. Martinez, and I'm telling you now, I don't give a rat's behind what your excuses. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. This affidavit is what you're going to be signing, promising me you're not going to drive. Nothing in this world can justify you getting into a car and driving. Jesus comes down and needs to ride to church. Do not drive. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Castillo,
Because you don't have a license, because you're not going to drive, I'm going to give you a portable device that you're going to take with you everywhere you go to prove to me that you're not consuming.
That's what I was going to talk to you about. I was talking about my bond conditions.
Mr. Martinez, in the last 1.5 years, you have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are on your 6th case within the last 1.5 years. There's nothing at this time that you can try to negotiate with me. Do you understand?
I understand, but it's about work.
Stop. All I want is my streets to be safe.
Yes,
And
sir.
if I find that you're in danger, anything 1 iota, it's just not going to go well for you.
I understand.
Okay, do you mind giving an application and we'll have you swear to us?
Are you with Thomas?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah, we never got Thomas's.
Gary and Thomas?
Yeah, I'll meet them.
Raise your hand.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gallegos.
Daniel Martina Pedraza.
And bless him.
good morning, Your Honor.
Page 9?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Morning, Judge.
Hey, how are you?
It's very
Happy Friday, man.
Hi.
Did you say Marquina?
Martina Pedraza.
You, hey, this is now not the time for you to talk to him about this. You are Marquina Pedraza.
Yes,
You're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You are facing up to 1 year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 18th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, a law enforcement officer observed a vehicle stalled in a moving lane of traffic. The law enforcement officer approached the vehicle and found the defendant in the driver's seat asleep with the vehicle running and foot on the brake pedal. The law enforcement officer woke the defendant up and noticed a mild odor of alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, and glossy eyes. The defendant admitted to consuming alcohol. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 6 out of 6 on the HGN was recorded. A 7 out of 8 on the walk and turn. A 3 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The defendant consented to breath and blew a .157 and a .154.
Can you look right at the eyes and licenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
So we Martina, want to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication, and I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using any alcohol or illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. No more PR bonds. I don't know what your immigration status is, but if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail and immigration finds you because they sweep it hourly, if they find you, they will put a detainer on you and you will be stuck like Chuck in there until this case is over with and then you get shipped off to immigration. Do you understand?
¿Se lo entiende?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you are not allowed to drive, and that is also a bond condition.
Your Honor, we have no prior DWIs, but the driver's license data is not populating at all. There's no indication.
No indicación.
No license.
Dice no tiene licencia.
Do not drive, Mr. Martina. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive. I don't care what your excuse is if I find that you drive. I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. Nothing in this life can you say that will justify driving. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Temptation is big. Just don't do it.
Okay.
So for now, I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. We will get you to Victoria where you will sign a reset. You will eventually get with pre-chopper your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Because you have a lawyer, I'm going to waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with counsel, and he will tell you if and when you have to come back to court. If he tells me that he cannot get a hold of you because you're ducking and dodging phone calls, text messages, I'm going to issue a warrant for your arrest. If they call you to go take a drug test and you fail to appear, a warrant for your arrest will be issued.
Yes, sir.
All right? Come on.
Hey, Judge.
Thanks. Blessing.
Yes, Your Honor.
The cost number on this
Yes, Your Honor.
is 256-0811. You are Miss Morales Vega.
Yes.
Ma'am, you're charged with prostitution. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 19th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was working in an undercover capacity in plain clothes when he entered a sexually oriented club and sat down at a table. The officer engaged in conversation with the defendant. The defendant agreed to participate in oral sex with the officer for a fee of $400. The officer notes that the conversation was recorded. The arrest/enforcement team detained the defendant and took her into custody without incident.
Ma'am, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond. Evasion is lifetime behavior. If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond and put you in custody, ma'am. I don't know what your immigration status is, but if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put an immigration detainer on you and you will be stuck in custody until this case is over with, and then you get shipped off to immigration. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Can I provide you a lawyer today? Would you like a lawyer?
¿Usted quiere un abogado?
Yo tengo un abogado.
I have an attorney. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es?
Are they supposed to be here today?
Not today. Lo ocupo. ¿Ocupas phone?
Sí, pero no digo como que a ver, no tenía que preguntar eso ni ella.
She said she hired one, but he's told her that he did not need to be here today.
Person hasn't filed any documents. I don't
No han
know.
archivado documentos.
Um,
Pero presentarlo.
I mean, I can, if you would like, I can give
Si
you more
quieres.
time. I'm happy to give you a court-appointed lawyer today if you want one. You tell me what you'd like to do. I can, reset you and give you more time. Normally lawyers file documents.
Give me another date.
Okay.
Cody.
Like I said, if you want a free lawyer, I'm happy to give you one today. So if you have problems when you're out there, you can come back and we're happy to give you one.
Ahora regresar, yo tengo uno que...
I have one.
Okay. That's fine. I just, hopefully they'll come here for the next setting. I don't know. For now, I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'm going to have you take your seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We're going to have you sign them, and after that, you'll be free to go. Do you mind filing your conditions, please?
Absolutely.
No engaging in this. You are Mr. Rosabal Matos.
Sí.
Yes.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Judge, on April 19th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer observed the defendant run a red light on North Shepherd Drive. The officer then observed the defendant's vehicle fail to drive in the designated lane, striking the raised median and causing his tire to go flat. A traffic stop was conducted. The officer made contact with the defendant and observed the defendant to be the driver and sole occupant and to have bloodshot eyes and slurred speech. The officer could smell an odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from the defendant's vehicle and from his person upon his exit from the vehicle. Officer Castrejon spoke to the defendant due to the defendant being a Spanish-only speaker. The defendant admitted to consuming one beer. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. The officer noted a 2 out of 6 on the HGN, but also noted that the defendant would not follow the stimulus during distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation. Therefore, the officer was not able to observe the clues on that basis. The officer noted a 3 out of 8 on the walk and turn and a 3 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The DIC was read on a recording in Spanish at the Joint Processing Center. The defendant consented to a breath test. The 15-minute waiting period was observed and the breath test came out to a .161 and a .153.
Any prior DWIs and a license?
No prior DWIs, Judge. I'm checking on the license.
Just tengo licencia.
Find
Sí tengo.
sufficient probable cause.
Voy a averiguar que sí hay
Case.
razón juzgatoria.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. If you're not in this country with proper permission and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put a detainer on you and you will be stuck in custody until this case is over with and they get shipped off to immigration. They sleep it daily, hourly. So behave while you're in this country. You get no more warnings from us. Do you understand?
Okay.
If you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you're also ordered not to drive.
Sí tengo.
I do have.
Judge, it appears that it is eligible.
Parece que sí.
As long as you have a valid license and liability insurance, car insurance, then you will be able to drive. That is also a condition that you maintain liability insurance. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
¿La capacidad de ocupar su propio abogado?
No.
No.
I can have you fill out an application, but I need to know everything about you. I need to know what kind of work you do, how much money you make, how much money you have at the bank, what kind of car you drive, any other sources of income, and I'll take a look to see whether you qualify. For now, I'll have Deputy Miranda's going to give an application. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we take a look at everything. Please.
It's real quick on 13, top of 13, was that state flood conditions?
Yes. Yeah.
It's another study. Easy. Next judge is page 23, Vera. 25605 2560573.
I know, I'm getting upset. Don't be calling me on Monday because I'll be for margarita.
You are Mr. Vera Quiroz.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 17th, 2025, an officer responded to a call for service for a possible failure to stop and give information in Harris County, Texas. The witness stated to the officer that he observed the defendant strike a maroon four-door sedan from behind, drive around the vehicle, and then drive away from the scene without stopping to provide any information. The witness followed the defendant and observed the defendant to increase and decrease his speed frequently, failed to drive in a single lane of traffic, and nearly strike other vehicles until his car became disabled on Highway 249. The witness observed the defendant to exit the vehicle and to be the sole occupant and operator of the vehicle. The officer made contact with the defendant and observed a strong odor of alcoholic beverage, glossy bloodshot eyes, and poor balance. The officer detained the defendant, and while removing a pocket knife from the defendant's pocket, the officer observed a bulge and a plastic feeling in the defendant's pocket. The officer observed a faint odor of marijuana, so he removed the plastic bag, which did in fact contain a usable amount of marijuana. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 6 out of 6 was recorded on the HGN, a 5 out of 8 on the walk and turn, a 1 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The DIC audio was played for the defendant, and the defendant agreed to a breath test, which yielded a .148 and a .143. The marijuana weighed approximately 0.2 ounces.
Priors, no license. Mr.
No,
Vera,
no priors, Judge.
No.
okay.
No driver's license.
Mr. Vera, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now, as a condition of your bond, not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. With you, I'm going to test you 50 days from today. If I find that you continue to use marijuana, I will revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. If you're not in this country with proper documentation and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put a detainer on you because they sweep it daily. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
You are not allowed to drive if you don't have a Texas driver license and liability insurance. That is also a condition of your bond. You do not have a license, you will be signing an affidavit with me today. Mr. Vera, in this short life that we have, do not drive. Because if you do, you will pay dearly. Do you understand? This is a promise that you're going to make to me, that you're documenting that you're not going to drive. Nothing you say can justify driving at all. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you get a license and insurance, come talk to me and then I'm happily will take this off. But until that point, you do. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer? How old are you, Mr. Barrett?
Then
23?
Do you work?
Yes.
Do you have the ability, do you have the funds to hire a lawyer?
No.
If you want, I can give you an application and you can apply for a court-appointed lawyer. I need to know everything about you and I'll see whether you qualify. Above all else, do not use because it's really not going to go well for you. Do you understand? Okay. Deputy Miranda's going to give you an application. I will have you go to Victoria Sign and Reset. You're eventually going to meet with pretrial services for your bond conditions. After that, we'll take a look at your application. Come on.
Judge, we have one more. Plaza.
Hey, Glossa, you're earning, huh?
My vacation, right?
You're doing great.
The bottom of page 8, Judge. I don't know how to say that much more.
You are Arthur Mukes. Mr. Mukes, you're charged with resisting arrest, facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir. Please.
Thank you, Your Honor. A law enforcement officer was dispatched to a disturbance call on April 19th, 2025 in Harris County, Texas. The officer observed the defendant to be outside of the residence with what appeared to be an injured hand. The defendant stated he injured his hand while punching a wall when he was in an argument with his wife. The defendant stated that he had been drinking Crown and requested medical attention to the scene. The officer attempted to make contact with the female at the residence who refused to open the door. She only stated that the defendant should not be there at the residence and that she was in fear of the defendant. The defendant advised that he would leave the location and return at a later time. Later on that day, the defendant contacted Precinct 7 dispatch and stated that he was going to kick the door down at the aforementioned residence. The officers returned to the location and made contact with the defendant, who stated that he was going to kick the door down as soon as the officers left the location. Due to the defendant's apparent intoxication and the danger he posed to himself and others, the officers attempted to place the defendant in custody for public intoxication. The defendant became actively resistant and pulled away from officers while being escorted to the vehicle. The defendant told the officer, quote, "I'm coming for you," multiple times as he refused transport. The assistance of 4 officers was required to place the defendant in a patrol vehicle. The officer notes that the defendant actively resisted for 7 minutes and 13 seconds.
Mr. Mukes, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward. Now's not the time. I know you're itching to say something, but look, I've got a bunch of prosecutors here. I don't want you to say something that hurts your case. Stop. Resist all attempts. If you want, I can give you a lawyer today and you can give your side to the lawyer. Okay? But right now, don't. You're only hurting yourself more when you think you're helping. Don't. I'm trying to help you here, Mr. Mukes. The only condition I'm placing on you now, you're not allowed to consume alcohol. Do you understand? If I find that you're using alcohol or illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. Just don't use. Okay? Do we know if she wants to have contact with him?
Judge, the offense date was on the 19th. We have not been able to reach out with the complaining witness yet.
So let's do this. I'm going to have them reach out. I want to know if she wants to have contact with you. If she's okay with it, then I'm going to allow it. Okay? Just don't. So we're going to try to do work on our side or their side to see if they can reach out to her, see if she's okay with contact with you. So Let me see.
Morales Vega?
Okay, so, hey, do you mind reaching out to the Mac for Mr. Mukes? I'm gonna get you a lawyer here for you soon. I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Victoria. We're gonna have you take a seat in the jury box. Just, look. Just don't, all I'm asking you to do, man, okay?
I was the victim here and hell.
I know there are two sides. Mr. Mukes,
I'm the one who called them for help and they locked me up and violated my rights.
hey, Mr. Mukes, there will be video. We will take a look and we'll see because the evidence is going to point to whose side's correct. I don't know. I wasn't there. Stop. Don't. Please. Good morning, Mr. Ramirez. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 17th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer observed a pickup truck change lanes without using a turn signal. The officer observed the vehicle change lanes twice prior to initiating the traffic stop. The officer approached and observed the defendant to be the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle. The officer noted a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from the defendant. The defendant was ID'd by his Texas driver's license. The defendant stated that he did not know how to provide proof of financial responsibility. As the defendant responded to the officer's questions, the officer noted an odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from the defendant's breath. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 6 out of 6 was reported on the HGN, and the defendant stated that he could not perform the walk and turn or the one-legged stand. The DIC was read, and the defendant refused to provide breath or blood voluntarily. A blood warrant was obtained and the defendant's blood was drawn.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Please.
Okay, first of all, Judge, the reason, it's not on there for some reason, but the reason, he told the officer he can't do it because he had surgery to his back and to his knee, so he can't do it. Secondly, there's no mention of any slurred speech, no bloodshot eyes, no swaying.
And this is why details matter. Odor alone is enough. No slurred speech, no balance issues, no bad driving pattern tied directly to intoxication. This is a textbook example of probable cause failing under scrutiny. Same charge, totally different outcome. So, here's the real takeaway. Should DUI laws be stricter to prevent risk or stricter about evidence to protect rights? Drop your take in the comments.
I mean, I was actually thinking about that as well. All you have is an odor of alcohol.
And then
Anything, there's no accident. It's just a turn. All we have is an odor of alcohol. Is there anything else? Odor alone is insufficient.
No, that Judge, he was coming from a tattoo shop and the police officer asked him, is he alcohol because of the tattoo?
Is he what?
He just had a tattoo put on. That's just going. So that's the odor of alcohol.
Come on, man.
That's what. No, that's. I'm just saying. I mean, that the officer actually asked him that question.
What are they? The little alcohol that you put on your skin? You tell me that?
I don't know how it works, Judge. But I've never had a tattoo.
Killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
Your Honor, the law enforcement officer does state in the DIMS that there is a distinct odor of alcoholic beverage, emanating from the defendant's breath as he spoke.
Yeah.
That's
That it?
all we have before we initiated the standardized sobriety test.
Okay, that's not enough. All right, I'm going to find no probable cause in your case, Mr. Mears. You know,
So
we have enough death on our streets now. You know, $40. One button will get you a car wherever you want to go in this life. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Use it. All right, please.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. You are Mark Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 18th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer observed a motor vehicle stopped in the right lane of traffic with its hazards on. The officer approached the motor vehicle and observed the defendant to be asleep in the driver's seat. The officer parked his motor vehicle in front of the defendant's vehicle and attempted to wake the defendant up. Once the defendant was awoken, he allowed his motor vehicle to roll forward and strike the officer's vehicle. The defendant then turned the vehicle off, but failed to put it in park, leading the motor vehicle to roll backwards and strike the other officer's motor vehicle that was on scene behind the defendant's motor vehicle. Once the defendant exited the vehicle, he became uncooperative and was required to be detained by the officers. The defendant would not answer any questions and kept saying, "Oh yeah," over and over. The officer observed a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from the defendant. The defendant declined to participate in standard field sobriety tests initially. Once the defendant was transferred to jail, the defendant stated that he wanted to perform the standard field sobriety tests when asked to perform them again. The defendant was read Miranda warnings and stated that he wanted to speak to the officer. The defendant then stated that he had a 12-pack of beer since he had gotten off of work. The defendant stated he did not know what time it was and what time he stopped drinking. The officer observed the defendant to have bloodshot eyes and slightly slurred speech. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. A 6 out of 6 on the HGN, a 3 out of 8 on the walk and turn, a 2 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The DIC was read, and the defendant consented to providing a blood sample.
Mr. Ramirez, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. If you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, now is the opportunity that you're going to get to address it. If you don't, and it becomes a problem on bond, I'm going to address it for you, and I promise you're not to like the way that I do it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You are not to use alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to test you like crazy to ensure that you're not using. Any prior DWIs, and does he have a license, please?
Judge, I don't have any prior DWIs, and I'm checking the license right this second.
If you do not have liability insurance and a Texas driver license, you're not allowed to drive, and that is also a condition of your bond.
Judge, we have that his license is eligible.
Okay. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, Mr. Ramirez? Do you work? How old are you, sir? Okay. We're going to give you time to hire a lawyer, so I will have you go to Victoria, sign a reset, and then I'm going to have you take your seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. A, don't use. Do you understand? You're going to get called to tested. If you fail to appear, I'm going to issue a warrant for your arrest. You understand? All right.
Hello, sir.
Ma'am, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 17th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, officers were dispatched to an assault call. Officers arrived and spoke with the complaining witness, who stated her and the defendant are neighbors. The complaining witness stated the altercation was only verbal until the complaining witness exited her apartment unit and observed the defendant approach her while calling her names. The complaining witness states that the defendant then struck her 3 times on the head with a closed fist. The complaining witness stated a witness was able to separate them. The complaining witness exited her apartment unit approximately 1 hour later, at which point the defendant approached her again while stating that when the defendant was in jail, she heard the CW was talking bad about her. The complaining witness stated that the defendant then struck her on the face and head with a closed fist 5 to 6 more times. The witness stated he observed the defendant pulling the complaining witness's hair, but did not witness any striking or punches thrown. The officer observed a light red mark on the complaining witness's cheek.
Any alcohol?
Take a closer look here.
Ms. Simmons, I'm going to find if there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm going to tell you now that I will do everything in my power to protect my community at all costs. I don't know what kind of resources you have here, but if you don't have anyone to pony up $5,000 to $10,000 if I revoke your bond, you will be stuck like Chuck in there until this case is over with. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I don't want you to have contact with the complaining witness in this case. I don't want you to go within 500 feet of where she lives or where she works. You understand?
We live right across the hall from each other.
Don't want you to go anywhere near her. I don't want her to be in fear when she's trying to get home.
I understand.
Actions have consequences, and I don't want you to go anywhere near where she lives or where she works. You're also not in possession of weapons as well.
Judge, after taking a closer look, it doesn't specify whether or not alcohol played a role in this event.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, ma'am?
No, I don't. I need one.
Okay. I'll give you an application. We'll see whether you qualify. I need to know everything about you, how much money you have coming in, where from, cars, anything, money in the bank, and then we'll take a look to see whether you qualify.
All right, thank you.
Miranda's going to give an application. You will meet with pre-trial for your bond conditions, then we'll have you meet with someone shortly.
Okay,
Mr. Walker, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 20th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, law enforcement officers were dispatched to a report of erratic driving in a gray BMW sedan, nearly striking other vehicles. The law enforcement officer located the vehicle and paced the vehicle going 85 miles per hour and a 65 mile per hour.
Hey, don't talk. Don't talk. Can you start from the beginning, please?
Yes, Your Honor. On April 20th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, a law enforcement officer was dispatched to a report of erratic driving of a gray BMW sedan nearly striking other vehicles. The law enforcement officer located the vehicle and paced the vehicle going 85 miles per hour in a 65 miles per hour zone and saw the vehicle almost strike a delineator pole. The law enforcement officer initiated a traffic stop and made contact with the defendant. The law enforcement officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, red glossy eyes, swaying, and unbalance from the defendant. The defendant admitted to having 2 beers prior to driving, or 2 alcoholic beverages unspecified prior to driving. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, a 6 out of 6 on the HGN, a 5 out of 8 on the walk and turn, a 2 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The law enforcement officer found an open container of an alcoholic beverage on the passenger side floorboard, cold to the touch. The defendant consented to breath and blew a .137 and a .127.
Mr. Walker, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I am now taking away your ability to drive. You are not allowed to drive. Do you understand? You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. I don't give a rat's behind what your excuse is. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? Because it's a second offense, I'm requiring you now to get a portable device that you're going to take with you everywhere you go to prove to me that you're not consuming alcohol. If I find that you do, I will put you in jail. No more PR bonds for you. Do you understand? You're not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. Does he have a license? Can you run it?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'm going to get you to Victoria where we will have you sign a reset. You will then get with pre-trial for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. When you come back, please have a lawyer. Please.
Judge,
Oh, hold on, Vic. Let me tell Mr. Walker one more thing. Come up. I am placing a restriction on your license. You are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. I'm sending notice to DPS in Austin so that every single officer in the state knows that if you're in a vehicle driving, that vehicle is supposed to have an interlock on it. If you're caught and you don't have one, they will take you to jail. As it stands now, as part of your bond conditions, I'm warning you not to drive for the time being. Do you understand?
Like I, but
Look, it's not, I'm just, no response is required. I'm just telling you what the expectations are. And if you violate these conditions of bond, I will revoke the bond and I'm going to put you in jail.
I know I'm trying to get a real good understanding. That's why I want to ask the question.
You need a lawyer. I don't want you to ask something. I don't want you to say something that hurts your case. We're going to give you time, please.